what are the differences between Westfield, Indiana and Noblesville, Indiana? These are two cities that are right outside of Indianapolis, and they're very popular suburbs that a lot of people look into when they're looking to move into Indianapolis. Well, today we're going to go ahead and talk about the differences between Westfield and Noblesville, so stick around because you don't want to miss it. Welcome to the Discovering Central Indiana YouTube channel. I'm Eric with the Pels Realty Group, and if this is your first time on the channel and you want to know everything there is to know about living in Central Indiana and the Central Indiana market, go ahead and subscribe below. My business partner Julie, we get calls and texts every single day from people just like you who are looking to make the move to Central Indiana. So whether that's in 9 days or 9 months, give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email, or set up a Zoom call. So Westfield versus Noblesville. The differences, what are they? They are two very popular cities right outside of Indianapolis, and Westfield's been ranked as one of the best places for families in the US, and Noblesville has also been ranked as the 12th safest suburb in the US. But how do they compare with each other? Well, let's go ahead and talk about that right now. Starting with their prospective downtown areas, you're going to notice a massive difference. With Westfield's downtown area, it's almost non-existent. Honestly, the closer you get to Grand Park, the more downtown it feels, even though it's not its official downtown. You don't have many places to park currently in downtown Westfield. They have some restaurants here and there's some local restaurants. Some of them, like, Big Office is a very popular barbecue place, really great. Recommend you going there if you like barbecue. They have Field Brewing too. They have some decent food and some good beer, but other than that, there's not tons of notable things in downtown Westfield. Now, I will say downtown Westfield is slowly expanding. The city of Westfield is expanding. They have a lot of stuff planned for the downtown area. They're currently working off of Union and 32 to build apartment complexes with restaurants on the first floor. You have some parking garages that are also going to be built, and you also have some stuff going on with Grand Park Village that Westfield's going to be working on. Then when we talk about Noblesville's downtown area, it is the complete opposite. It's a beautiful historic downtown. We have more local shops and things to do and to explore. They have little plaques throughout the downtown area just kind of telling you the history behind the buildings, and they've done a very good job of keeping this historic feel, and it's very walkable, whereas downtown Westfield, if you will, it's not that walkable. You are right off of 32 with downtown Westfield. Super busy, very noisy. Definitely be careful if you're a pedestrian in downtown Westfield. Their downtown area, in my opinion, it's kind of like a little getaway. It takes you back to the 19th century, basically. It's just really neat to walk around and just explore the different historic areas and admire the historic 19th century architecture that downtown Noblesville has. Whereas with downtown Westfield, you just drive through it, you wouldn't even know it's the downtown area, since they have one stoplight in all of downtown Westfield. But as I said, the closer you get to Grand Park, it feels more like downtown with a whole bunch of chain restaurants as well. You have Birdie's where you can eat there and play mini golf. It's expanding rapidly, but at the same time, what is officially their downtown area doesn't feel like their downtown area. It'll be really interesting to see how Westfield develops their downtown area, because there's a lot that is coming towards or to downtown Westfield, so we will keep you updated with what is happening as well. Now let's go ahead and jump into traffic between Noblesville and Westfield. State Road 32 runs through Westfield and Noblesville. That is the main thoroughfare. That is how you're going to get from Westfield to Noblesville. My personal opinion on State Road 32 is it's an absolute pain in the butt in Westfield and in Noblesville. Everyone drives very slowly on State Road 32, and it just gets very congested. You have a lot of stoplights as you get into the downtown area of Noblesville, one after another. It's really inconvenient, and it really congests and backs things up. It can be very difficult to make a left-hand turn in downtown Noblesville. And when we're talking about downtown Westfield, you only have one stoplight, but when you move farther to the west towards Grand Park, there are just tons and tons of stoplights there that also get congested. Westfield has more roundabouts than Noblesville does, so it definitely has that going for it in terms of just flow of traffic. But when you hit 32, it's just congested. And in the downtown area of Westfield, it is more of a construction zone, so there could be bottlenecks because maybe one lane is closed down because they're trying to construct a whole bunch of stuff in downtown Westfield. So traffic, generally speaking, is not terrible when it's not rush hour, but at the same time, with Westfield, there are partial lane closures off of 32 occasionally with the construction, and then with downtown Noblesville, it's just very congested in the downtown area because you got stoplight after stoplight pretty much after every block, and that, like I said, it creates kind of a bottleneck, not even a bottleneck, but just very congested, and it makes it more difficult to get to where you need to go. Now, when you're not driving on State Road 32, I'll stop talking about that. When you're not driving on State Road 32, it's not as bad. With Noblesville, it's going to be, you're going to have more highly populated areas, but then you can have a whole bunch of rural areas, whereas with Westfield, that used to be the case, but with how Westfield is growing, there are less and less rural roads. You're going to find more rural roads when you get out to more Sheridan, more farther north than Westfield. Just tons of stuff going on in Westfield in terms of growth with the roads and just updating the roads as well. But generally speaking, when it's not rush hour, again, the traffic's not terrible as long as you're not driving on State Road 32. Now jumping into home prices, and when we're talking about home prices between Westfield and Noblesville, there is definitely a difference. So in Westfield, the median price as of right now is $520,000. In Noblesville, the median price is $439,000. So that's a 16% difference, with Noblesville being 16% cheaper. Now that's just a median price, and the median price is subject to change every month based on the sales in those areas. Now, when it comes to housing, there's just so much new construction in Westfield. There's also new construction in Noblesville as well. I would say there's a little more at the moment in Westfield because a ton of builders are just flocking to Westfield because you have the land to expand. Now, Noblesville also has a bunch of land to expand and develop, especially with neighborhoods, which they are doing, but it's not to the extent of Westfield, because all the construction that's going on right now is going to be on the north side of 32 when you look at a map, right by Grand Park, because Grand Park is such a big sports complex and it's such an attractor that people wanting to take advantage of it be right there, right next to Grand Park. So that's where builders and developers have flocked to. But they are also developing in Noblesville, not at as fast of a rate, but they are still working. And now that I'm already talking about this a little bit, let's go ahead and talk about the growth. So both cities have a lot of room to grow. You know, with Westfield, like I just said, you have Grand Park. They've also announced plans for Grand University. It's going to be a STEM learning campus. It's estimated to cost over $1 billion. So that's pretty impressive. There's a lot happening in Westfield, a lot to come to Westfield, because Westfield has been a very sleepy town in my opinion, and I've lived in Westfield for over 21 years. So I've grown up, I've seen what's happened, especially off of State Road 32, and then with Grand Park going in, a lot has happened, but at the same time there's still a ton of growth to go through because of their non-existent downtown area, where the other cities surrounding Westfield, you know, Carmel, Fishers, Noblesville, even Zionsville, they have downtown areas where Westfield really doesn't have that. And like I said a minute ago, there's just so much new construction going on in terms of housing too. So, you know, honestly, Westfield is a great place to be if you want to kind of get on the ground floor, if you will, with all that's going on. Just the development, the apartment complexes they're going to be building, mixed-use spaces for shopping, restaurants, parking garages, which I'm personally looking forward to because there's just not that much parking in downtown Westfield. There's some street parking, but it's kind of iffy. You want to be careful. And if you go to a restaurant or a business in downtown Westfield, parking can be more difficult to find if it's not a big parking lot, because most of the businesses in downtown Westfield don't have big parking lots, especially when they're popular. Gets parked up really fast, so then you got to figure something else out. You got to park, you know, a block away and then walk. And when we're talking about Noblesville's growth, it has a lot to offer too with Innovation Mile. You know, it's a master planned business district. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens with that. You also have Hamilton Town Center. That's a massive thing. And then Ruoff just down the street. So as of right now, Noblesville has more to offer than Westfield, where in the next 5 to 10 years, it's going to be close. Westfield will probably have a little more to offer than Noblesville, but at the same time, they're both growing so heavily, especially Westfield. So it'll be interesting to see what developers do, what the cities do as well to kind of compete with each other, because at the end of the day, the suburbs that are surrounding Carmel, a lot of them want to be like Carmel. So they try to emulate it to an extent, but at the same time, Westfield has distinctly said that we don't want to be Carmel, we want to be our own thing. So we're going to take ideas from different cities and kind of combine them to make them our own in so many words and what they're trying to do. But when it comes to things to do right now, Noblesville definitely has more to do, especially with Hamilton Town Center. You know, just it's a big outdoor shopping mall, if you will, shopping complex with a movie theater, just a lot to do, whereas you don't have that in Westfield. You have Grand Park, but you can't shop at Grand Park. There are some shopping centers in Westfield, but not to the extent in Noblesville. And there's no Ruoff in Westfield at the moment. There's no like concert hall. I don't want to even say concert hall, but like, you know, a music venue in Westfield right now, or at least not one that would compare to Ruoff. And moving on to the last thing, and that's going to be schools. The school districts can be very, very important, especially when you are a family looking to move to these certain areas. What are the schools like? What are the reputations? And the nice thing is both Westfield and Noblesville have highly rated schools. Both school systems have great reputations, and you have just a bunch of things that your kids can do within these school systems. So for Westfield, you're going to have the Westfield Washington School District, that's what it's called. And then for Noblesville, it's just the Noblesville School District. With Westfield High School, you have just under 3,000 students, but honestly, in the coming years, that's going to explode, in my opinion, just with everything coming to Westfield. You got one high school for all the kids, and the high school is ranked number 8 in the state. And then when we're talking about the Noblesville High School, it's just, again, one high school for all the kids, and you have just over 3,000 kids for Noblesville High School, and that high school ranks 19th in the state. And again, that school is going to continue to grow. Now, when it comes to population, Noblesville has a higher population than Westfield, but that's, I feel like, going to change here soon, again, with all the stuff going on in Westfield. So that was my comparison of Noblesville versus Westfield. Both cities have some similarities, but they also have a lot of differences, especially when it comes to the downtown areas. But the biggest difference, in my opinion, is going to be growth and what's coming to them. Westfield just has so much happening right now in terms of what's going to happen with Grand Park. You've got a new downtown that's going to be revamped and revitalized, making it an official downtown. Then you got Grand Universe, you know, that STEM complex is going to be really great. And then, but on the other hand, you have, with Noblesville, you have the Innovation Mile, massive for businesses. So which is going to be really interesting to see what happens. Honestly, you can't go wrong with either of them. They're both really great cities, but at the same time, that's just a decision that you're going to have to make. So drive through them, see what you like the best in terms of the feel, what they have to offer. And if you want something with more amenities, then honestly, Noblesville is going to be your better bet than Westfield. And if you're talking in terms of cheaper housing, Noblesville's median prices is historically lower than Westfield. So it's definitely food for thought and things to think about. And remember, if you're looking to move in 9 days or 9 months, give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email, or set up a Zoom call.